way through the construction. The neighborhood on our left is called Tribeca. That's another acronym. SoHo stands for south of Houston Street. Tribeca stands for Triangle below Canal Street. Tribeca. You may have heard of the Tribeca Film Festival. That was Robert De Niro's initiative to revitalize this area after the attack on 9/11. De Niro and I went to the same high school. He dropped out. I graduated. And look what happened to him. And look what happened to me. You may know the school if you remember the movie Fame. Fame featured a performing arts high school, now called the LaGuardia School of Music and Art and the Performing Arts. And it is now in Lincoln Center. Maybe I'll tell you more about it later on.
Eso sí se ve alto. Muy alto.
You can see where the land juts out here. We're a lot closer to the land because of this jutting. Well, this jutting, it's a couple of blocks at least, is all landfill. The biggest landfill we have in Manhattan is on your left, where all of these residential buildings have been built and some office buildings too. The landfill goes back about 35 years. The buildings on it about 25 to 30 years. Looking up, One World Trade Center. One World Trade, not yet open, also called the Freedom Tower. It is the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, the fourth tallest building in the world with the spire. It is 1,776 feet. That is commemorative for U.S. independence in 1776. In meters, it is 541 meters of no significance at all. To the right of One World Trade, which again is not yet open, is a building called 4 World Trade. It also has strings of white lights running up and down it. Now it opened in November. You can see a red elevator on the right side of it. It officially opened in November, 72 floors, and it is between those two buildings, between buildings 4 and 1, which is where the Twin Towers once stood. In their exact footprints today, the 9/11 Memorial. If you haven't been there, go. In Path. It is still there today. It's called Broadway. That's where our ticker tape parades begin. We've had over 200 of them. I'll tell you when the first one was, and I'll give you the date, and you can see if you can connect the dots on this, because I will mention this date later on. See if you get it. The first ticker tape parade was on October 28th of 1886. Keep that in mind. That date will come up again, and you'll know why. The southern tip of Manhattan Island on our left. If we swing out to the bay, the Statue of Liberty. Now, a lot of people that live on Manhattan Island, in fact most of us, do not own cars. I have lived on the Upper West Side for 38 years. I have not owned a car for 38 years. The Staten Island Ferry will pull into one of these slips with the orange canopies. We will no doubt see a ferry later on. I see one now, but it's kind of far away. Big orange ferry boat out there.
Mira, 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 mira.
So we turned around the southern tip of the island. We're going up the eastern edge. Wall Street's coming up on our left. To the right of the American flag on our left, to the right of the flag is a street. To the right of the flag, to the left of the tan building, you can see 2 flag staffs on the left side of that building. Those flag staffs are over Wall Street. If you look up Wall Street, you will see the spire of Trinity Church. It's made of brownstone right there. Did you get it?
Let me see.
All right. Trinity Church. That is at Broadway and Wall. Wall Street begins with a church.
Wow.
It used to end with a slave market. A church on one end, a slave market on the other. Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense. Brooklyn on our right. The most populous borough. 2.5 million people live in Brooklyn. The Watchtower is the publication of the Jehovah's Witnesses. They make their headquarters here in Brooklyn. Bridge in the world in 1883. She'll be coming up on 131 years in May of this year. 131 years old. People were afraid to walk on it.
Esto tiene como 200 años este puente.
I'm sorry?
Más.
Más.
This one. Yeah, I'm going to do them in order. The Brooklyn Bridge, right behind us. People were afraid to walk on this bridge, as I was saying. A fellow by the name of P.T. Barnum of circus fame would solve that problem by assembling, built in 1909.
Este conecta China.
Not as long as the Brooklyn Bridge, it is a suspension bridge. The reason these bridges are suspension bridges is they had to get a significant height in order to allow warships to come and go. The Brooklyn Navy Yard was the builder of great warships for 160 years, from 1806 to 1960, by the millions from all over, well, but mainly Eastern and Southern Europe, including my father. But anyway, the Lower East Side is where they lived. That was the immigrant enclave, the most densely populated place on earth. One city block without high-rises, just 2, 3, 4. This bridge was the first bridge in the world to exceed the length of the Brooklyn Bridge for suspension bridges. And it did so by 4.5 feet. 20 years later, in 1903. 4.5 feet is the length of the Statue of Liberty's nose. A lot of public housing on our left. We call them the projects. You pay according to your income. I have a friend that lives in the South Bronx. He's the last guy I have there. The only person I know there from years ago. And he lives in the projects. He has a 2-bedroom apartment. And he pays $406 a month, including utilities. Remember Richard Rogers? Richard Rogers, all those great musicals he wrote the music to. Richard Rogers, he was born in Queens too. Richard Rogers, born in Queens. The Bronx, as I said, will be going straight upriver. Living 4 blocks away from where I lived in the South Bronx was a fellow that was almost president of the United States. In fact, he could have been president had he wanted it, but he didn't. Colin Powell lived about 4 blocks away from where I live. Jennifer Lopez, also from the Bronx, but she hates it. That's what they say. She doesn't go back, doesn't want to go back. Tony Curtis. So there's the MetLife building again. To the right of it is another gold-topped building. That's New York Life Insurance Company. This building on our immediate left with a lamp on top. That's a bronze lamp, looks like a temple. That is the building belonging to Consolidated Edison Company. They're our utilities provider. That's at 14th Street and Irving Place. The Queensboro Bridge upriver, connecting Queens to the Upper East Side of Manhattan. The building with the long white side, looks like a book standing on its end, is the Secretariat Building of the United Nations. The building to the right of it, that tall black slender tower, looks like there are a couple of plants up there, trees maybe. That's Trump's World Tower. The Chrysler Building is the one with the jazzy spire. The Chrysler Building goes back to 1930, and it too was the tallest building in the world for 8 months, exceeded by the Empire State Building in 1931. The Chrysler Building is right across the street from Grand Central Station, and just a couple of blocks from the New York Public Library. All of those very worthwhile. The Chrysler Building, the lobby of the Chrysler Building is gorgeous. Grand Central Terminal, if you haven't been there, wonderful place. Food's pretty good too. And finally, the New York Public Library on Fifth Avenue. Very, very worthwhile. So we turned around. We're going back downriver. The Bronx is behind us. And ahead of us, the Upper Hudson Bay.
Está que corre mucho viento, pero está frío.
¿No está mucho viento o no?
No, no. No está mucho viento, ¿sí ves? Allá está el puente de Brooklyn. La estatua de la libertad a lo lejos. Ya te da miedo.
No, es que me está ahí muy apegado.
Ah,
Vino.
es el puente más viejo de Nueva York.
Pennies. All of those plates have been hammered into shape and then attached to a structure inside designed by Gustav Eiffel, who would later do the Eiffel Tower. This statue was unveiled October 28th of 1886. Does that date ring a bell? That date sound familiar? Yeah? Well, that's the date of the first ticker tape parade. And the story behind that is, it was a big celebration. The Statue of Liberty. There were parades and fireworks and bands and demonstrations and all kinds of stuff going on. The people on Wall Street were not given a day off. So they did something they had never done before. They opened their windows and threw out ticker tape, establishing a tradition that would last till today.
Yeah.
There have been over 200 ticker tape parades. The first one for the Statue of Liberty. Or possibly in protests for not getting a day off. The Statue of Liberty is green because she's copper. That green, called a patina, takes about, 20 or more years to get that way. So no one alive today has seen this statue in any other way. And because it was copper at one time. I mean, copper that you could, that looks like a penny. She's 305 feet from the ground to the top of the gilded torch. That's 93 meters. The statue alone is 46 meters. That's 151 feet. A gift from the people of France. The real name of the statue is La Liberté, éclairant le monde. Liberty enlightening the world. France was under the dictatorship of Napoleon III.
Estás mirando más de cerca.
Liberty enlightening the world? No, you're going to have to put that somewhere else.
Ajá. Liam.
Mira, Liam, mira.
Mira, mira. Ah, es la soda, la soda.
Ah, sola.
Pepsi.
Eso no.
No, sola. Sola.
Sí, esta es sola. No, acompañada está bien.
No, sola. Sola. Ah, boluchi. Ay, mami.
Hasta el mercado.
No, but the city. Huh?
Torre de colores.
No walking around.
Soda sigue saliendo la soda. Oh, Pepsi. Pepsi. La Pepsi sigue saliendo. Yay. Soda.
Estamos en el Times Square dando una vuelta. ¿Será? Frío. Ok, aquí estamos en el Empire State. Viendo toda la ciudad. Que dentro de pronto esta va a ser la torre más alta de Nueva York. Ya. Sí, aquí sí hace frío. Sí, se congela las manos.
Todas as fotos saindo com a língua de fora. Estamos en el Gran Central. Esperando el tren. Cuñado. Todo el mundo con apuro aquí para coger su tren.
coger el tren.